everybody. Welcome to the Download Youth Ministry Web Show. Doug Fields here with my Azusa Pacific University club member,
I'm
Matt
an alumnus.
McGill. Yes, you are.
Alumni.
Josh
Yes.
Griffin, the official non-co-host, and the Queen's friend.
I like it. Strong start.
Nice.
And
Strong
my
start.
friend,
Yeah.
too, Megan Hutchinson.
Your
have,
friend?
have you been on a...
Our friend.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be honest.
All right.
We're like best friends.
Totally.
If
I
Megan was a guy, she'd probably be my best
There's
friend.
no question.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
where we
Yeah.
rank in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I was gonna say.
No, I just don't have like girl
That's
type
real.
friends that are as deep as Megan and I. She's great.
Are you guys ready to start the show? There we go.
No. Have you been on the show before?
I have a while back.
In the garage,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, in the garage. This
Yeah.
is
So
this
you
is
haven't seen
quite
this,
a
yeah.
this is quite
know.
an
Quite an
upgrade.
upgrade.
But
Don't you
here's
guys
the deal.
agree?
For those of you that don't know Megan Hutchinson, we worked together for many, many years. She's written a lot of stuff relating to kids hurting and pain, and those of us that, every kid in our ministry's got to hurt somewhere, but a lot of us like to stay on the surface of dealing with kids' pains, and
Yep.
Megan does
You
it.
can point at me.
You're looking at
No,
Josh.
Point at me. I'm in.
Josh,
50% of
Josh,
this table.
Josh.
Because you
No,
know Matt and I
answer's
will go,
yes.
let's go.
No,
These
Matt.
two.
Matt
I'm like,
talks
let's go and talk to Matt or Megan.
No,
That's what I'm
Here's how I was explaining.
Matt.
Here's
Right
how I
here.
was explaining
Yeah, there you go.
Megan the other day to somebody. I said, what I would do is I think I'm really good at like spotting kids that are alone, and I'm that guy. Like
great at that.
if somebody is unconnected, I'm on them, and then all of a sudden, like 2 minutes in, I'm going, this kid's cutting himself. He hates this.
No wonder he's got no friends.
Right. No wonder he's sitting alone.
No, I'm not thinking that. But here's what I am thinking.
So bad.
Here's what
You
I'm
know
thinking.
those guys that can roll a tight joint but not hit the side of a barn with a football?
Oh,
I hacked that one.
You
didn't
did
Wow.
hack
I'm
that.
actually just praying for you guys right now.
Here's the
Just
deal.
Keep going.
So I would meet
Nice
that kid, and as
example.
soon as I would I would get into a conversation.
Yeah.
I'm all of a sudden now going, "Where's Megan? Where's Megan?"
Yep.
It's true.
And then I would get Megan. Hey, let me introduce you to Cindy. And then all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, Cindy's crying.
Yep.
She's on her knees repenting, coming to Jesus.
Yeah. Megan's crying.
Megan's the best.
That's a little
Megan
true.
is the
I
best.
know. I can't not cry when they're sad.
She brought a trophy that I gave her in 2003. Megan Hutchinson, longest pregnancy in the history of youth ministry. And
Yeah.
the reason it was
hilarious.
the longest pregnancy is because every time Megan spoke, there was about 9 pregnant jokes.
Examples.
Yeah, examples.
And one time
And
I
you
showed
would
my
show
tummy,
your
which
stomach.
you told me
Not
was
just
very
once.
inappropriate.
Wait, you would show your pregnant belly to
You know
the
what?
youth group
Everybody
kids?
loves a pregnant belly. Don't you agree?
Yeah, through clothes.
Oh no!
Close. We ought to have another conference. If I'm starting to forget some of your drop lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's
We
the
should
first
plan
time
an
I've
event.
forgotten.
We need to have another
Anyway,
pile.
so Megan, for those of you that are kind of either new to the show or kind of new to the youth ministry world, Megan is a key player in it, and she's a great communicator, great speaker. She does a lot of stuff for Youth Specialties, which is our primary sponsor.
Primary
Oh, I
sponsor,
love
brought to you
YS.
by
Yes.
I
Youth
love
Specialties.
YS.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just-
She's turning her water bottle because it says Group Simply Youth Ministry on it. And
Which
she's
we-
like, am I allowed to have this?
We
on the
really
show?"
like them
You're
too so
totally allowed
much.
to have that
We're
over there.
totally
That's-
Oh, I'm sorry.
here,
Rick
have some water. Here's a new
Lawrence.
replacement
you know what?
bottle
This
for
is,
you.
Come
that's really great.
Okay, here, no,
Let's-
I haven't drank out of that. Hey, drink your own.
Okay, whatever.
All right, here we go.
Me and Brazel ride mountain bikes together.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Who's that?
Brazel.
Who doesn't love Brazel?
Seriously.
Look, this Simply Youth Ministry started here.
Right.
This was the Simply Youth Ministry show originally.
Yes, it was.
Then it was the Youth Ministry Garage. Now it's the Download Youth Ministry show powered by YS. Who knows what it'll be next year?
Right.
At this point,
Who knows who
I
will
assume-
sell out our souls? Oh,
And speaking of sponsors,
Azusa Pacific.
Oh,
shows up
yeah.
pretty
Did you-
strong.
Where's
your
our
sweatshirt?
Where's our gear?
Well, first of all, I'm an alumni, so I really can
Three-
you just take
the
that
three-
off and
oh,
I'll
wait,
wear it.
I'm not.
Because
The
this is
two
for
of
you.
like a sleeping bag.
The
for
two of you are alumni,
Sleepy bag.
and I am on staff there.
I'm kind of on
What are you
staff there,
technically,
too.
an adjunct professor?
Yeah, I'm
need to get
not
in on that gig.
Jim's
not
helper?
adjunct. No, I'm not adjunct. I'm
But you taught a
I'm
class.
Staff.
I'm adjunct. You're
So
a
you're
staff.
not a professor.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't. They don't.
There's a lot
I'm
of
not-
Azusa
You
love
should
in
be
this
a
room right
professor.
now.
They don't.
Wow.
They don't call people professors.
I don't have a PhD.
Studio
He would
audience
make people
here
trophies.
from Azusa
I mean,
as
it would be
well.
an incredible class.
Anyway, so
Cool.
Josh,
I didn't
Josh.
go. I didn't go to Azusa.
Well, here's the deal. There was a triple XL.
I can tell.
They sent a triple XL.
They did?
Yeah, and you're a double XL.
Wow.
Yeah.
I could be a triple XL.
Yeah, your whole family
Although
could fit in that
Let's
sweatshirt.
let's
Hop in, Jack.
Let's jump into the show.
here we go. This is from JD Miller from Kimberline, Missouri. Matt, sorry you got canned. I wanted to share with you a major blessing in my life that you have been the forefront of. This is going to become Josh didn't get a APU shirt, but he's going to get major praise right here.
Oh, that's an affirmation. I'd rather
That's
have a
nice.
affirmation doesn't keep you warm.
So whoever
on a
sent
cold
this-
California night.
Because there's so many.
This
Cold California
affirmation
nights.
doesn't get you.
I'm kidding. JD, here we go.
That's funny. On February 28th, my wife and I and two of our sponsors were in Lee's Summit for the Youth Specialties Training event. Okay, this is in Kansas City. I was extremely excited as I made plans with Doug and Josh to meet up for food before the conference.
Yeah.
That's a
Josh
You
win.
and
didn't
I-
recognize the name, huh?
Well, wait till you hear the rest of the story.
We were sitting at a barbecue
Yeah.
place waiting for this.
Kansas
this-
City barbecue, hanging out, ready for the show to
Unfortunately,
show up.
on the exit ramp for the restaurant, we were at a complete stop where we were rear-ended at 60 miles an hour. We were thrown into the flow of traffic and hit 2 more times before coming to a stop. Needless to say, our car was totaled. Miraculously, there were no major injuries, and we were all released the same night from the hospital. However, what has personally impacted the most about the event is the actions of one leader, Josh Griffin. Josh, along with
on.
the team at the event, set aside time to pray for our healing. The next day, Josh arranged for a massive outpouring of love through text messages and tweets. Did you have the whole crowd?
The whole crowd. I just spontaneously was like, you know what we need to do? So we
Text us
tweeted him, we text bombed him, and so I gave out his phone number on the screen.
He's
And
still getting
I was like,
text
I hope he doesn't get in an
messages.
accident while he's driving home.
Right.
But and we bombed him with. I mean, it was a huge event. There was like 700 something people. It was huge.
Wow.
So you couldn't
Bombing his
find it
phone.
within your heart and schedule to go visit.
No, I did meet him. I gave YS gave him some books and
Nice.
resources. They
Yeah.
refunded his money. They were awesome.
From the bottom of my heart, Josh, thank
I
you
was
for
in
being
prison, you
God's
visited
heart
me.
in our time of need. The physical healing has taken some time, but we are mostly recovered. But because of your heart and actions, our emotional healing happened long ago.
That's
Oh,
really
That cup of
nice.
cold water.
That's
Thank
super
you.
nice. You know what? You get
Thank
the new
you. I
trophy.
just
Thank
really,
you so much.
I've been enjoying this pregnancy.
I want my trophy back.
Can't wait to see you guys in Atlanta. I'm holding out for that dinner.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
True
That's
story.
very nice.
We're sitting in we're waiting in the restaurant. We're sitting in the lobby, whatever. And I get this phone call from JD, and I'm like, oh, he should be here by now. And he's like out of breath, literally like seconds after it happened. So it's like, hey Josh, are you guys okay? You guys okay? Oh, we just got into an accident. So he was like calling us before he asked his friends if they
Wow.
were okay. So he was so
Got his
concerned.
priorities straight.
Yeah.
He was
yeah.
so concerned. It was awesome.
Wow.
Total stud. Wonderful, wonderful wife. Amazing friends that were with them, volunteers. It was awesome.
That's cool.
So sad, but great people. Great
Beautiful.
people.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't have meant this, but for the first half of that question, I was literally thinking in my mind, I wonder what state Kansas City is in. And my second thought is, I should know the answer to this question. And,
Yes.
and it came to me.
Where is
That's
it?
it.
And-
It should be in Kansas. If it's not, I'm
It's not.
Oh,
really.
God.
beautiful. That's beautiful. So it's a great question. Missouri.
It's in Missouri.
Missouri.
Ah.
Kansas City, Missouri.
That feels like we should close in prayer.
No,
I- well,
no.
I've been
That's
praying for you guys the whole
better.
time.
That's like, do you know where Sacramento is?
California.
Okay.
But
That's about the same thing.
no, it's not the
Yes,
same
it
thing.
is.
Why? First
Kansas
of
City
all,
Chiefs, your son.
Look,
Isn't
here's the
Kansas
deal.
City the
I have no
capital
problems.
of Missouri?
I have no problems being
Springfield.
ignorant and asking a question.
Not
But I
St.
just
Louis?
thought it was an
No,
obvious
yeah.
question. But it turns out it wasn't an obvious question.
You know, we're Americans. We don't have to know geography.
You know,
Yeah.
totally.
I'm a Californian.
History
I still
books for
don't.
that.
Here we go. This is from Billy Porter.
Kansas City's in Missouri.
I thought it was
Thank you,
Kansas.
JD. It's very, very nice.
This is Billy Porter. Says, I'm trying to focus on connecting with the students in my group that we only see on Sunday mornings, if at all. I really want to find some ways to connect with our group to be more involved, but I'm struggling with my approach. I've been texting with a few of them, trying to get some time to grab a Coke with them to sit down and chat. This has been met with something less than enthusiasm. Is there a better way to reach out to them? I don't want to push so hard that they run away,
Yeah,
but I know they need some encouragement to become more active in our group. Thanks for your thoughts and my weekly dose of laughter. Matt, sorry you got canned.
Oh, love it. Classic.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you can only reach out so much. I mean, it does become creepy at some point, and if somebody doesn't want to hang out, then they're not going to hang out. And you've done your due diligence. I mean, I don't know where that line of is that.
Do you know what
3
city
texts?
due diligence is in?
Kentucky. But so I mean, my point. I don't know what the line is. Is it 4 texts, 2 calls, and a drive-by? I don't know what it is. But
Not a drive-by.
yeah, exactly.
You
didn't hang
yeah,
out with me.
loser.
Tommy Gunn,
That's right.
1950s youth ministry.
So
Oh my word.
I would say relational youth ministry is the cornerstone of what we do.
Yeah.
We do youth ministry programs, all of that, to encourage relationships.
Right.
And so I would also say a lot of teenagers have a natural boundary to not trust people. And so oftentimes they will test you and they will resist you to see if you're legit or not. So I would just be careful not to give up too easily.
Right.
So maybe a text, a call, a conversation at youth group is a good idea.
circle back around. in a
Showing up
month.
at their games, remembering something that is important to them the
Right.
next
Yeah.
time you see them. Because I find myself sometimes like, hey, what's your name? And then a week later, I'm like, hey, what's your name? Like, I told you last week. You don't
that
remember
bad?
anything
Yeah.
about our
Yeah.
conversation. So especially if you're
Hey,
reaching out to
buddy.
somebody. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
dude.
What's happening?
up?
Hey.
Yeah.
Chick.
So a part of it is, I
Megan
think,
just goes for the wrong name and just goes full force.
Yeah,
into
she
it.
doesn't
I know.
care.
Stan.
I know.
She
What?
just,
Yeah.
she actually,
My
if she-
name's Christina.
if she creates more pain in somebody's life, she has
Oh,
more ministry.
job
Wait,
security.
get this. Get this. The other day, I asked a girl, "What's your name?" No, I said, because I totally forgot. How do you spell your name? She's like, S-U-E. Sue.
oh, I love that one. That's
Yeah.
classic.
That
Just
was
follow it
bad.
up with, why do you think that hurts so bad? Why do you
Yeah.
think my
Yeah, life hurts God heals.
But I would just say some of that rejection is natural in teenagers. It's
Yeah.
natural, and I would just don't give up too early. I don't know what too early is, but be careful not to just go, they don't want to hang out with me. I tried twice, so it's over.
Yeah.
They never replied to my text, so I'm out. I would just say, pursue a little bit. That's okay.
And you may send somebody else on them. I mean, maybe for some reason there's
Yeah.
not a natural connect with him for some reason, Billy. So
Stan.
maybe you say, Stan, hey, Sue, why don't you reach out to
Yeah.
Lisa or
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
it might be.
That's cool.
So
That's good.
Any thoughts, Fields?
Well, I
No,
I
you
go
said it
to
all. You don't have any.
you,
no. She actually once Megan said what she said. I said, okay, that was the right answer.
this is where you went my money on. Right.
But I was thinking about Dan Cagle and Joe Lamone, the guys I tell the tennis ball story about that sat in the back every Sunday.
I'm dying that I forgot the line, by the way.
We'll deal with that later. That's insider information. But these guys sat in the back row of like Sunday morning, and I would always go after them. How you doing? Good to see you. I was like the only one greeting them, asking about. You could tell when they were together, they wanted really not much to do with me. So I just wore them out, because I was like, hey, one of these days, why don't we hang out?
What do you
I'll
guys
buy
like
you.
to do
I'll
for
buy
fun?
you guys lunch, or something like that. And I mean, it felt like it took a year until they relented and said yes, and then we had this, great time, and they got involved, and but it was one of those things. I didn't give up.
He became a leader in the ministry because he was a couple years ahead of me.
Yeah.
And I remember him as being one of the upperclassmen and having a conversation with him at Mexicali and at our missions trip, and it was very impactful.
I would throw in one more thought too. I think sometimes it's fun because you connect with a student early and easily,
Yeah.
and then they go through a season of their life, or maybe they walk apart from God, something, and then you're like, wow, we used to be so close. I used to be really mentoring them. So realize that there are some seasons to this as well, and it might be difficult at first, might be easy at first, and you have to reconnect. So just know that that's part of the gig too.
Yeah, the
over
goal.
the years of
I
ministry.
think we create a youth ministry that everybody is connected to somebody.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
last night I shot the video for the DYM members.
Right.
We're talking relational youth ministry, and
Right.
kind of, no one stands alone in this youth ministry. So whether you connect with them or somebody else does, that's the goal.
Yep.
Speaking of our sponsors being APU, did you guys notice that a almost graduate of APU just walked in?
I noticed
did.
that.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
hard for me to not say anything
Yeah,
at the moment.
I know. Cody
Yeah.
Fields.
Yeah, so in our audience right now, we have a graduate, an
Yeah.
almost graduate, and then some other guy who has nothing to do with APU. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's right. We have we have Justin is here who blogs for us, and
Yeah.
we're going to do a 5-minute youth ministry right afterwards.
Nice.
Cody Fields, who's one of the newest best-selling authors of a DYM game.
Cool
And
plates.
a pilot, I
Cool
think.
plates.
Isn't he also a
Not
pilot?
officially a
Almost.
pilot yet.
Close though.
You
Yeah.
soloed. That's all I needed to do.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's right.
That's amazing.
And your game
The
did
McGill
well this
family
week.
will totally pay for flights to Idaho, by the way.
That's
Or,
right.
Figured that
or
out.
Kansas City.
Cody's all, should I talk right now? I don't have a
I don't know.
microphone.
That's right.
Right.
No.
Yeah. What do I
all
do?
right.
Let's ask Fadi. Do you think Fadi knows?
Buddy knows
Do
what.
you know what state Kansas City's in?
What state?
Yeah.
Because Matt didn't know.
And neither did Megan. So half of us
Okay,
didn't.
Fadi
I thought we
is,
were gonna keep that between
is on the
us.
clock,
Oh.
who is basically an investor in DYM. Lets
Yeah.
us.
He's a sponsor
He's
as
our
well.
mentor, he's a friend.
Yeah, but
My
he lets
friend.
his office, his employees don't like us because Matt's cackles so loud.
Just so loud.
You know, nobody dresses up nice. They all wear suits and ties in here, and,
And they're
we
working
come in. Look
triple
at
X sweatshirts.
look at Matt.
Look at
That's right. Weak men
Josh's.
can't
Yeah.
jump.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you know what?
Kansas City is in.
It's a trick question.
It's
Not Kansas.
Correct.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's,
Kansas.
you're
Not
way
Kansas.
Already
You're
ahead of
way
Matt.
ahead of me.
No, it's not in Kansas.
Right.
It is in
Cody, do you know?
Missouri.
Missouri. Yeah.
There it is. Did you see the
From
funny
an
tweet?
APU grad. Can I
Did
just
you
say
see the funny
that?
tweet about
Wait a minute,
Cody?
Oh, yeah,
We're
that's
both
true.
APU.
Did you guys see the funny tweet about Cody?
Uh-huh.
They were just talking about how, I didn't know Doug Field's son was Tom Brady.
Oh yeah,
And
I didn't
every
know.
time-
I didn't know
Oh.
Doug Fields was Tom Brady's dad.
Oh yeah. Every time I see Cody, I go, man,
Totally.
you had a great season last year, bro. And Giselle, you got the life,
right,
man.
kids.
And kids.
This is
Wow.
from Joe Kenke.
Moving right along.
I am a DYM member, and I also love the Shark Tank.
Oh, you're welcome.
Matt,
like what we
I
do.
also agree with Doug's statement about you in episode 241 should have been edited. I said something about you, and you said we should edit that. I'm like, I don't think we should edit that.
So he agrees
He's
with
agreeing
Doug.
with you.
I know. I agree that Doug's statement should have been edited.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Of course. Why would anyone disagree?
Our denomination, Foursquare, has a great resource, Child and Youth Protection Series. It has been very helpful when it comes to training leaders as well as providing guidelines for leaders. It's available at foursquare.org. Meg, we were talking the
That's
last
cool.
couple shows about like where are the boundaries set. Some people are writing in going, my church won't let me spend one-on-one time with kids and the whole bit. And so we've
Right.
been kind of saying, what are the guidelines that are out there? And some have been sent
Great.
in. Would that be something for the blog?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
can I actually take that paper? That'd be great.
That's a great idea.
Yes, but I also have another one that's was too long to read on the show, but they
Cool.
actually kind of cut and paste their deal.
Awesome.
So I'd love to. Why don't I send both of those
That'd be
to you?
great. I'm in.
Great.
Can you give him that paper though now?
Foursquare.org.
Well, and I think
Foursquare.
the point there is you have to have something. You have to have something
Yeah.
in place, or else you're walking in a danger field.
Yeah.
Parents need to know, I'm dropping my kid off. Are they protected? Are they secure? How's the environment? Can
Yep,
anybody walk
yep.
in?
Yeah.
That's a great thing to address.
Yeah.
Dangerfield.
Do you guys
Totally.
think it's inappropriate to
Hi
ask
to-
Fadi to be quiet in his own office? Can anybody else hear him talking to Cody
I
over
know I
there?
can.
Huh? I just don't know if it's appropriate. It's his electricity.
Right.
It's his building.
Totally.
It's his.
I don't think it's
Let's
appropriate.
just not ask, but just continue to discuss it.
Okay. I just didn't. I didn't know. I didn't know if the
with the
microphone could
situation.
pick him
Yeah,
up
this
because
is aggressive.
I could hear those
Over
guys.
Fadi, can you hear us?
Sometimes
Are you out there?
Sometimes Lebanese people are very loud.
Yes,
All
and they
right.
don't use
And we
S's.
need to edit that now, too.
He doesn't. You know what he calls Doug Fields? He goes, Doug Field. How's Doug Field today?
It took me about 6 months of friendship with Fadi to realize it's S's.
Yes, it's
that
S's.
sometimes he leaves them off, and sometimes he puts them on where they don't belong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's,
it's okay.
It's actually cute.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cute. It's endearing.
It-
Let's pronounce
Same
wine.
with Doug.
all right, here we go.
We all really are the same.
My name is Bryce Vanderstelt.
Wow.
I am a DYM member, that away, and very grateful for all the resources that you send out every month. I am also thankful for the web show and the podcast. I've been in full-time ministry for 3 years and have been getting advice from you the whole time. My question is about splitting up time. In a normal week, I'm wondering how much time do you spend meeting with students face-to-face, attending their events, planning for lessons, meeting with leaders. For me, I never feel like I'm spending enough time with students during the week. It would be great to hear what someone else does on an average week for comparison. Thanks for all you do. I know that DYM is a passion project for you guys, and I want you to know that your passion feeds my own.
Wow.
Whoa,
There's a
there's
quote.
a sound bite right there.
That is
Twitter me
great.
this, Bryce Vanderstelt.
What are you talking about right now?
Nice
This is a
shop
great.
name.
Should we jump into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question, and I think that it's most of us get into youth ministry because we actually like students and we like spending time with them, and that's great. I think it is possible to spend too much time with students, and not necessarily because some of the admin stuff doesn't get done. You don't do the things that your church needs you to do.
People
just to-
all over
yeah.
now going, I see why Matt got canned.
No, but I'm saying it's not.
Too
It's
much
not
time with
because
students.
it's not because of that. I think that, and this is something that you've said for years, and so that's all I ever do is just repeat something you said in the past. But is that if you can spend time with 5 students, or you can spend time with 5 leaders who are each going to spend time with students, and not necessarily that it's this geometric equation and it always works out that way. Anytime that we've been on teams together, everyone on the staff has always had, interns. They've always had relationships with students directly. So it's not like, just minister to the adults who minister to the students and make sure you're always one step removed. I don't think that that's the right move either. But if you're only investing in students and you're not investing in adults, then you're at some point you're going to be a huge bottleneck for your ministry.
It's good. I would just say 1/8 of the time. No, I would say just have balance. And I would also just caution that as your youth ministry grows, you'll have less time with students and you'll be pouring more into the administration of it, pouring more into the leadership of it. That was very
get made fun of when you say
that was very difficult for me to realize that when I had 30 students, I could know every single student in our ministry. When we got to 40 students, I went, well, I got to do a little more planning, and I've got to figure out how to empower some volunteers. And then anything beyond, I just feel like you have a relational capacity that you have to understand. But the more leaders that you empower to minister to students, I think you can amplify your heart and your ministry and your care. It just isn't always going to be you. I would say you always want to continue to have touch with students. That is, you're doing youth ministry. But don't freak out when you're doing less youth when you have youth ministry. I think that's part of the gig. As you grow, as your ministry grows, you have to release some of that, not all of it, but that's part of how it works.
I think you got to spend your time strategically too. I mean, I think that if you're always, if there's a couple students that you get along with, but they're not really developing or really growing anymore, then, maybe there's time that you could spend with other students that would be better spent. Not that somebody has to reach this litmus test of, well, they're a leader and they provide this much for our ministry, so I'm going to spend time with them. I mean, not you might spend time with people that are really immature in their faith or new or going through problems and troubles like that. I'm just thinking that just all time with students is not equal. It depends on who you're spending time with, and is that beneficial?
Yeah. I just think there's a tension between tasks and people, and both have to get done.
Totally.
So you got to figure that out.
And the pendulum, you just have to be aware of when the pendulum swings. Like, I'm in the office way too much. This is clearly written by someone who is the person probably who's running the ministry.
Doesn't say, but probably he's a DYM member, so he's at the sharper end of things.
Right. So it makes me think, of course, this is going to pertain obviously more to the paid staff person or the person who's running the show, running the ministry. Show. It's not a show.
This is a show.
It
This
can
is
feel like
the
a
web
show, but it's not. Right. It shouldn't feel like a show. But I love that you use the word strategic, and I'm not shocked at all that you, of all people, use the word strategic, because I can remember, I don't know if it was when we worked together, Matt. Matt was my boss, actually, for 2 years.
Roughest years of your life.
It was hell. But I remember. Is that okay to?
Yeah, that's fine.
As in heaven,
We'll edit
hell.
that.
As
Yeah,
in
we'll
heaven,
edit
hell.
that.
No, we had some
believe in
great
hell.
times, but we really worked through some stuff. Anyway, I can
Ups and
remember
downs.
it was either you or the boss before you. I'm not sure.
Jerk Nick
Which would have been
Fields.
him. Created a chart, and it said Monday through Friday on it, and literally we had to turn these in every Tuesday. At our one-on-one staff meeting that said, how are you going to block out times for relationship, for planning, for
cool.
Your own Jesus time? They wanted to see that in there. And it was very, very helpful for someone like me who I would love to just be relational all the time.
Yeah.
But that's I don't think that's effective ministry all the time.
Yeah.
So that was helpful.
I answered this question yesterday I spoke at a network meeting, and there's a bunch of youth workers. We just talked a little bit and had Q&A, and a lot of it revolves around time and how to manage time. And I still point back to the time chart that, Matt, you helped me create in Excel on.
Wait, stop. Matt did a chart.
Yeah, I know.
That's a shock. That's crazy.
I can't wait till you guys see all of God's charts up in heaven.
So, but in the back of PDYM is a Monday through Sunday, and it's blocked out by the hour. And really what I did is I stole this idea from Stephen Covey of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And what he talks about is roles and goals. And so instead of living out of a to-do list, where everything you have to do, you just write down on a to-do list, and then you just begin to clip that off. And typically what you do is you clip off the easiest ones first, just because you want to get the momentum going. And we all think multitasking. We got all this stuff going on. You get home at the end of the day and you go, what did I do
Right.
today? But Covey's idea was identify your roles. So what I did is I've got 5 roles. Okay, I just simplified it. I'm a pastor, I'm a teacher, I'm a leader, I'm a developer, and I'm an administrator, unfortunately. So as a pastor, what are my pastoral duties? That's a role. As a teacher, that involves the prep time, the whole bit. A leader is kind of what we did in that relational question a little bit earlier, that I've got to develop other leaders. A developer, that's unique to Doug Fields because I'm a creator. I like to entrepreneurial, like make things and create and write and the whole bit. So I made that as one of my roles. And then an administrator, which is all the email forms, the budget stuff we don't like to do. Then if you look at your week and you go, okay, these are my roles. You don't have to take mine. Whatever you decide your roles are, Bryce or anybody else,
Jelly
identify those roles.
Cinnamon rolls. My rolls.
Fat rolls. Oh.
All related.
You identify those roles, and then you take your to-dos, and all of a sudden they become your goals under your roles. And that way you're not living your life out of your to-do list, but you're living your
So
life
where would you put relational ministry?
under pastor. Yeah, for me. That's pastoral time, that's hang time with
Yep.
kids, the whole
And
bit.
so would you try to be equal every week?
That's a really good question. I think ideally for me, that was the ideal. Like,
Yeah.
what if I did 10 hours
Right.
of pastor time, 10 hours of teaching, that's the prep, that's 10 hours of leadership development, 10 hours of kind of writing and thinking and developing products for our kids, and then 10 hours of administration. I kind of say that's ideal. Rarely does ideal happen. You've got a major trip coming up, so your teaching time is now narrowed down to a 2-hour prep, and you've got 18 hours under administration to get that trip ready. So there weren't times that it always worked neat like that.
Right.
But what it did for me is, I even think of now Cody about to graduate, going into the to the marketplace. He's going, okay, when I look at a week, you just don't live out of that to-do list, as whatever he winds up doing when he runs Fadi's company and lets go of
Which
Fadi,
one?
is that he identifies. Same principle applies. What are my roles, and then what are my goals under that role to help me accomplish it? So I think time continues to be a tricky learning for those of us in the game.
Time
This
does
is
continue.
this is sent from Bill. Please don't use my last name. Charlotte, North Carolina.
That's the city, not his last name.
Yeah,
That's
right.
right.
For a minute, I thought Bill Charlotte.
No, that's
No.
all right. That's
Right.
I call him Sue Charlotte.
Yeah,
But whatever.
I call him
Sure.
Missouri. Love the show. I'm a long-serving and active volunteer in my church's high school ministry. I lead a small group and do a fair amount of contact work outside of those hours. We have a new youth pastor starting in about a month. I've also recently been elected as a church elder. Do you have any advice on how to navigate this relationship where the new youth pastor is my boss, quote unquote, as one of his volunteers, but I'm also sort of his boss as a church elder, or at least responsible for the ministry in a way that most volunteers are not? If it matters, I'm 10 years older than the new pastor. I was on the search committee that hired the pastor. I'm really excited about him and don't foresee any obvious
Every
conflicts.
morning you look at a little index card, and it just says, "Even though I'm an elder, I'm not going to act like it. Just forget that you're an elder." I mean, and obviously I'm just being
No,
a
that's
smart aleck here,
no,
but
that's actually there's a principle.
Yeah.
There's a principle there that is very real.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Now, I mean, I've been at 3 really large churches, and now I'm at a really small church.
You're not at a really small church.
But in comparison, I'm
In
just saying,
So what-
comparison
to
to
your
a large,
experience.
across the country, you're at a normal sized church.
great, normal sized church. But we have an elder board, and so this is my first experience of, being with elders, and on one hand telling them how to do ministry, and on the other hand sitting in the elder meeting, listen, to what they say and all that stuff. And they don't lead, they don't manage the staff and all that stuff. But it is it's a very interesting relationship. It's very fuzzy. It's just,
The lines are not clear.
yeah, I mean, the lines are not clear and it's not well defined in our church, and I know that every church is a little bit different, larger or smaller. But I think in this situation, a new person coming in, you want to do everything you can to support that person. You want to do everything you can to make sure they feel welcomed into the church. You want to do everything you can to keep your opinions to yourself. You want to do everything. You want to do everything you can to learn who that person is, he or she, whatever's coming in, and what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. How can you earn their trust? Yeah, they're your boss and you're their boss and all that stuff. But the reality is, you even help choose this person, that they are the leader of the ministry.
Right.
So what do? You follow. You follow and you do what you can to just, if it goes off course a little bit, sure, that you're there to help say, your opinion, and you love the kids and you love the ministry and help guide them. But my thing is that I try not to think the word elder very much.
No, that
or
was really
even at
good.
all.
Your 3x5 card was a great. It's
Strong, man.
elders should be spiritual leaders, but in most church cultures, they become less spiritual leaders and more managerial leaders. They get that power, trip thing happening. They walk around with a sense of, my daughter who's in youth ministry, full time at a church for 3 years now. They just got back from camp. And they went down to Mexico, and she was in charge of the whole trip. Well, one of the leaders, when a kid switched vans, Tori hands the passport to the new van driver. They get back to the church, that passport's gone.
Right.
Okay, and so Tori's, she's texting me some different things, and I said, is the family cool? And she says, yeah, the family's pretty cool, but the dad's an elder. So it's immediately this, just like
dun dun.
Yeah,
Watch out.
where I think so it goes back to that 3x5, like wake up in the morning, you're a servant of Jesus Christ. That is what you lead with.
Yeah.
You're not in this power trip, and I don't sense that from the when Bill wrote this letter.
No,
he says I don't foresee any obvious conflicts. What I immediately thought of when I read that, be his cheerleader.
Absolutely.
What every youth worker needs is they just need somebody that's got their back and is not always bent out of shape every time there's a stain on the carpet or the van is returned messy or the meeting gets out at 9:10 instead of 9 o'clock, and everybody goes, that youth worker, they need you to cheer him on. You hired him, you were part of it, be his biggest cheerleader. When he makes mistakes, still give him the benefit of the doubt. If it's a radical mistake, pull him aside and say, hey, let me coach you through this, and here's how we're going to do some damage control.
You
and
said
I've
what kind of mistake?
what?
A radical mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a big deal.
Yeah, he's going to make mistakes.
Maybe even ask the guy, how can I serve you?
Yeah,
How can I help you? You're new. What can I do for you?
absolutely.
And if the guy that you hired, if they default to you, maybe one of the hardest things you'll have to do is, even if they come to you and say, hey, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Maybe it's the right thing for you to say, hey, well, why don't you decide? Or what are you thinking? Maybe
that's great.
Just because someone's offering for your advice, maybe they're only asking you because you're an elder and they want, and just the spirit of the question, it's so great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it just
It
is really neat. I mean,
I think having an elder on your team is either going to be the biggest win
Right.
or the biggest thorn in your side. Because you have a person who has access to budget and leadership and reputation and can totally build up the ministry.
And maybe not access to budget, but they have influence over budget.
Certainly, direct,
Right.
nudge
Well,
where
they
it
know the
goes, and
numbers.
sure.
I mean,
or you have a person who is a spy,
access to
who is
spending.
attacking
Right.
you, who is spreading rumors, who is. And I actually met with an elder yesterday from a really liturgical church in Newport, and he just wanted to get together. They're searching for a youth worker, and he just had 20 questions. and was like, I want to get this budget and tell me what you do here and how do we, and he was, I looked at him when I walked in, I was like, oh boy, this
Yeah.
is liturgical
You had to
guy.
bow when you saw
yeah,
the
I know,
whole
you just
thing.
robes. No, he was just like a classic looking elder. He acted nothing like an elder, and it was so unexpected and beautiful. He was ready to hire the world's best youth worker and fund them and be their cheer. When you said cheerleader, I was like,
That's the word.
that's this guy.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Hence,
You know what?
Megan Hutchinson, longest pregnancy in the history of youth ministry.
Beautiful trophy.
Yeah, he should get this guy a trophy and say,
Absolutely.
I'm your friend.
Welcome.
Right.
Welcome.
Totally.
I like it.
All right.
Good question. I like that one.
That's a great.
Ted Northrup, DYM annual member here. That away.
There you go.
What was that?
Radical's what it was.
We're excited about DYM members.
Great.
Yeah.
I love when
Are
you
we
do
still
voices.
saying, Matt, sorry you got canned? If so, Matt, sorry you got canned. I'm in my
Have you been
second
canned
year at a
since last
smaller
time?
church. Our average weekly attendance is about 50 students split across 3 programs. Each program has 15 to 20 students, so our youth group still has a small feel. I'm facing a situation for the first time. 2 of my best student leaders in high school just started dating. She is a senior, he is a sophomore. They seem like a really good match, and I want to be supportive of the relationship. To make it a little more complicated, the guy
Brother and
is
sister.
my brother-in-law.
And we're in Arkansas.
We're in Missouri.
Megan,
Kansas
you
City,
obviously
Arkansas.
don't watch our podcast enough because we don't
We
make
would
fun
never
of.
do that. That is.
Never.
Wow, I'm
Okay.
appalled. I'm sorry, Arkansas.
To make it more complicated, the guy is my brother-in-law, my wife's
What?
brother. So the sophomore boy.
So is he married to a senior? Just kidding.
Let's you and I rest on this one, okay? We're gonna give it to them, okay?
Just trying to paint the
He
picture.
he and I are very close. So the youth pastor,
Yeah.
the 10th grader is his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Worship team dating a senior. Cody dated a senior his
I was just
sophomore year,
gonna say,
didn't he?
it
I
reminds
remember
me.
that so
Who was the
well.
worship leader?
Reminds
Yes, you
me
did.
of a little
Yeah.
Cody Beal. But she couldn't resist Tom Brady.
She was
I
a
get it.
singer. Totally.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you answer here, Megan?
2 questions. How can I come alongside them to support their relationship
Or in between.
without?
Yeah. Put Jesus between on a Bible.
How can I come alongside them to support the relationship without overstepping? 2, how do I prepare now for a potential breakup? They serve on our student worship team every single week, and a breakup would most likely mean she would not.
Well, let's be honest. It's gonna happen. Yeah.
You guys could have seen poor Megan's face.
Like already
Gosh, that
preparing
was
for
the
the
saddest
end.
thing ever. Wasn't that sad?
It was.
That this guy would think
I-
about the breakup.
I
You'd
just-
rather crush a puppy than think about the breakup.
I know he's being reality, but I also
All right.
think that's a big jump because aren't they just starting to date?
Yeah.
But it's a
All right.
good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Well,
paint the whole
There's a
picture.
moratorium on this side of the table,
Yeah.
so you
Matt's
guys
Okay,
gonna
so
get
stop.
stop, Megan. I like
Matt's
it.
gonna stop talking.
That's not going to happen.
Muzzle.
Can I see? Am I allowed to see the
No,
email?
no, no. It's not.
I
Josh,
just need to process
Josh,
it.
you
You're really not
start
allowed
and
to
then
see
Megan.
the
Okay,
email
I would
out
just because
loud.
obviously Megan wasn't listening.
I
That's okay.
kind of wasn't. I checked out. I kept wanting an APU sweatshirt for a minute.
I would just say if you're close with the guy, stay close with him through the whole thing because there is going to be ups and downs or maybe a breakup at some point. Whatever, it happens. So I would say just be very close to the guy, coach him, nudge him. If you see anything that is inappropriate, especially because they're on a student leadership team, regardless of that, if you see anything that's appropriate, pull him aside, talk to him about it. I would warn him about dating an older girl and what that means and paint the picture of what is ahead with her leaving for school and her age, etc. But I would definitely just continue to walk close by with them.
Yeah.
So
And if you need input on that as a 10th grader, Cody Fields at apu.edu.
Totally.
Just send an email.
yeah, and I would say as far as them on a student leadership team, I would
Ministry,
definitely pull them
all
aside
those
and go,
things.
"Hey guys." And I would not make it a foreboding, come into my office and we need to talk about
Yeah.
this. But I'd just be like, hey, your relationship, just so you know, these things, I've been in youth
Yep.
ministry a long time. I've
What
seen
kind
this
of duets
before.
are you guys singing?
I've seen this for a long time, and I know that sometimes what happens is after you break up, it gets messy and it can ruin the whole leadership team.
But don't
and
you think
dysfunction
it all
and-
it gets messy when either there's cheating
Oh, yeah.
or if it gets physical.
Exactly.
Those are the two when
Totally.
breakups get a little bit ugly.
Paint that picture and say, hey, the ministry is dependent on you. You're
Yeah.
leaders here, so just realize that your relationship, what you do, the trouble you get into, it's all a reflection on our ministry. It can hurt our ministry, And if you break up, it doesn't mean you both need to leave student leadership or even take time off. You just need to navigate this well. So
Yeah.
treat them like adults. Don't make it a somber, morbid affair where you come in and have a
Yeah.
talking
Yeah,
to.
make jokes, lots of jokes.
But I don't think I think
Just
they need
laugh.
they need to understand that it's serious, but it doesn't need to be morbid, I
Yeah.
guess. Or foreboding even.
I don't know what foreboding means, but here's what I think.
It's a city of
I
Missouri.
think that thank you, Arkansas. I was thinking that the fact that she's a
river.
senior is a big piece of this because we've got a few more months left. But maybe other people are dealing with something similar where there's leaders that are dating, and we all know that that can just get messy at times. So I love that you said, "Hey, pour into the guy, whether you're related to him or not." That's
Right.
probably a atypical situation, but. You know, what you said is I think really important. And someone, I would love for him, Ted, I'd love for you to see you find a female who's coming along a
good.
female leader that comes along her and just walks her along even just physical boundaries and, a godly way to be who she is in the relationship in a way that's honoring to the whole picture. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Matt, any additional
No, we got 2 more questions.
Moratorium.
3x5 card and put that on your dashboard? Say don't screw this up.
Yeah.
Hold them. I mean, accountability is important, and
Yeah.
I think if they're being physical at youth group, I would say something.
It's a leadership position. You're leading the worship team. You're in front of other people. There's no
Yeah.
question that when you put yourself in front of others, you are held to a higher standard.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as followers of Jesus, we're held to a higher standard anyway. But then you put that in front of people. I think it's definitely worth a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, cheer you guys on. I mean, personally, one of the things, youth pastor for 30 years, that I love, example of Matt being married to Misha, happened because of youth group. Mm-hmm. They would have they'd not come to youth group. Matt, a Tustin guy, Misha in Newport Beach,
Yeah, it
would have
would've
never happened. But they met at youth group. So I'm a big fan of kids meeting at youth group and dating. I'm fine with that. But this requires a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
I love
they're
it.
in leadership and on
and
stage.
he's thinking about it is just great.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think they should
Cool.
expect that conversation too. As leaders, they should realize that
Confused
conversation.
by the brother-in-law part, though.
I'll draw
Can you
pictures
explain that
afterwards.
to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's this
Little genogram, a little genogram is needed.
Very
Okay,
needed.
Yeah,
we'll get you the genogram.
That's
Yeah,
good.
it's nice.
It's a little family.
That's for me.
Will
Therapy.
Turner from Dothan, Alabama. I need
Willie
some
T.
pointers on turning lame excuses for missing church into teachable moments. I could see a McGill blog post
I was
right
just
now.
gonna say,
That is
McGill's the
so
master
McGill.
of these.
For example, when a student tells me he missed church because his family got a new puppy and he had to sit at home with it, how can I use that to minister instead of just saying, "Oh well, we missed you. How's the new puppy doing?" I don't want to be the jerk who always blasts kids for missing church, but I'm also tired of never knowing how to turn the lame excuse into something meaningful.
All right, I like it. I would just slap the kid in that case.
Wow.
Like, come on, kid.
Okay, can I say something here? I'm
Of course,
cautious.
That's why we have a podcast.
Okay, thank you. Well, I didn't know if
The
there's like an order to
microphone
who
here, it
speaks
picks up-
when. You know what
Well,
I'm
the
saying?
order
I'm
is
just-
always Matt first.
Oh, I kind of, that's what I
whether
was thinking.
whether it
'cause-
should be or not.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a little bit what I
always
was
is.
thinking.
3x5
I'm
card
like,
put on
I
his
think,
dashboard.
I think the girl's supposed to go third, is what I thought. I know. Well,
All right, you take this one.
all right. Well, I was just thinking. He said something there of asking kids where they are. Where were you? And I feel a little bit cautious to that question itself. That where are you or where were you is. I just would say check your motive on that question
Yeah,
alone.
that's
It's really good, man.
Because sometimes it could sound like where were you, like a demeaning, or not demeaning, but just you're on the
Attacking,
spot,
critical,
attacking, critical. That's a great
aggressive,
word,
yeah.
aggressive. Versus, hey, it's so great to see you. Tell me about your weekend. What was going on in your life. Versus, where are you? I just think that has a different connotation to
Yeah,
it.
no, that's good. We when we did the tables at Saddleback,
HSM? Yeah.
I used to train the table leaders to say we don't want to say where have you been,
Right.
Even because that's hey, where you been,
Right.
as we want to say welcome back.
Yeah.
I've been here 6 weeks. You haven't seen me. You
Right.
moron.
I've been at your table.
Or
Well, you
I
s-
haven't been here. Either it doesn't set you up.
Yeah, welcome back
win.
is great, but I understand this guy's deal. Going, look, at what point do we say something? Hey, it's great that you got puppies, but and I'm not sure that it's necessarily a
How about you and
one-on-one.
that dog burning in hell together? 'Cause you missed church. Because the dog's on.
There's the line. There's the line right there.
Third edit in the
That's
show.
the
right?
Yeah.
line.
But I think part of it is instead of just getting ticked one-on-one with kids because there are going to be reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, all three of my kids, there were legitimate reasons that they missed church, and you know what? There was sometimes
Legitimate now that they're your kids.
no, they were legitimate, even though they would be illegitimate reasons to Josh. So, for example,
It's true.
if Cody, if he's like, hey,
How can you do that in your head?
Cody has a, let's say Cody's got a baseball game on Sunday morning, and
Yeah. Illegitimate.
as a dad,
that's
as a dad, I'm going
That's
totally legitimate.
No matter
as
who
a
you
youth
are.
pastor, you're going, what are you, a baseball game?
Yeah.
No.
But you know that the creepy
Jesus,
elders are
baseball.
holding my numbers accountable? Cody, help me out.
I know, but here, if we're
As long as he
actually
watched a little bit of it on his phone in between innings.
if we're actually teaching
That counts.
kids that walking with Jesus is not about I have to attend a program.
Here's the church.
That when Cassie misses a youth group because she's got a volleyball practice, she can be missional at that volleyball. She can be Christ at that volleyball practice. And I think we got to be real careful that we
even need
equate
church.
behavior, that we equate
Miller.
behavior to spiritual growth.
Attendance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
It is a tough line to it is a tough discernment to communicate. Hey, you were missed, and you're valued, and you weren't here, and we noticed. I mean that you want to communicate care in that way, but then on the other side is when you make people feel guilty. I mean, you
Well,
don't want to do that.
I also think there's a little, for me, when I put time into a talk, and we all four of us, one of the things we have in common is we prep.
Right.
None of us wing messages. So when we're prepping, and you have a kid
Well,
that
Josh does.
you have a kid that you love.
My stories are pretty.
You have a kid that you love, and you've spent this time in God's Word, and you want that. You just thinking, I am so excited to teach my flock
Yeah.
this
Yes.
truth about God's Word
Yeah.
and point them to Jesus. And when they're not there, it bums you out.
You don't get to be the Messiah. Too bad.
Yeah, but you want them to get it. So is there another way to capture that, either electronically? Is it audio? Is it something where you go, hey, gosh, I love the fact that you got a puppy. What a neat part of your family that must be. Hey, this week we continued our series on X, and I'd love for you to digest this, and if you want to get together and talk about it this week.
Yeah.
That maybe there's other ways that we consider discipleship
Fadi
rather
just
than
said-
just attendance.
Fadi just said, go see him. Maybe go see this person when they're gone, or just follow up with a phone call. Hey,
Yeah.
I
Visitation
love
is
seeing
what
your
we call
face. Tell me about what was going on this weekend.
Yeah. How many times did your dog pee this weekend?
Yeah.
Good opener.
Did it poop on your carpet?
Yeah.
I like it.
What are you checking there?
I'm
Time?
looking at
Sports
time.
scores.
Oh,
Emails?
we're going to have to, darn it, we're going to save this one for the
47
next week.
minutes.
Hey,
Good
here's
one.
the deal.
Yeah.
Send your questions to webshow at downloadyouthministry.com.
Yes,
you can
please.
make any comments about Megan because she probably won't be here next time.
Yep.
But now
Thank
that
you
you
for
know
that.
where the
That's
podcast
great.
is held,
Right.
Yeah.
we would love to have you back.
Come back.
Great.
Anytime.
And we are thankful to our primary sponsor, Youth Specialties.
Totally.
We are all going to be at the National Youth Workers Convention this fall. We would love to have you join us. Leader Trex, who we love, Doug Franklin's coming in town.
I know we're gonna hang out.
We're going to
Couple
have.
weeks.
He's actually going to meet us at our DYM staff meet at 9:00 on a Monday night.
That's fun.
Yeah, and Youth Ministry 360, are they flying into town? Are we doing something with them?
We haven't responded yet to their.
Josh and I have.
Yeah, we've been talking about it a lot.
We have a date.
You've been on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Welcome
I
to the
do
team.
have about 70 emails, so
Yeah.
just from Doug alone.
Megan, thanks for being here.
Pleasure.
I would, if we were giving a trophy out.
Yeah.
You did give a trophy out.
Yeah, you did.
No, if we were giving a trophy out for this show,
What
Yeah.
would it? What would
I'd-
it say?
Give it to Josh.
I'd give it to Matt to say, "Be quiet." All right.
Let the lady go first.
Thank you
Right.
for being here. Exactly. Well done.
Okay.
Well
Good
done.
job, guys.
Good
Yeah.
and faithful people. Goodbye.